Hello, this is Tom from Tabletop Tap Room. Today we're looking at AD&D and the magic user who was always a weakling in AD&D. One D4 hit points, one spell, unless he's got high intelligence, then he might have a bonus spell. And generally, you had to play them very cautious for them to advance in level to that point where they got the fireball spell, and then they were useful. Then they had the battlefield nuke, and they were actually useful to the party. But they're so fragile, they could die early, and you'd have to roll up a new character. So today we're looking at my top 10 magic items that you can give to a magic user early and not unbalance the game. And this might actually help the magic user have a little bit of longevity and be a little more interesting to play for the player. But before we get too deep into it, let me just say thank you for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And don't forget that like, subscribe, and bell icon to help me build the channel. And moving right along, we have a party of magic users trying to split up some treasure. So my criteria for this list is, number one, it can't unbalance the game. It should give the magic user, number two, it should give the magic user a little more story share. At first level, the fighter is going to shine. The fighter, the dwarf fighter, the thief, these characters are going to shine at first level. The cleric can do all right at this level. But the magic user he's a one-trick pony, and the party is just humoring him until he reaches 5th level. So we want him to have a little more story share. Also, my criteria was that this list should follow what I identified as the Gygaxian distribution of magic items. Mainly that 50% of all magic items should be consumables, things that you use once, or they have a number of charges, and you use them up and they go away. It should be something that the party will naturally, if you're not giving it to the character creation, that it will be something the party will naturally give to the magic user. They'd be like, oh yeah, this is for the magic user. So that was also part of the criteria, or it would just be something that you would hand out at character creation without it being, oh, he's playing favorites with the magic user. Just a little something, something. So let's get into it. Now, I have an honorable mention, and the honorable mention is green slime in a glass beaker. And it's an honorable mention because it's not really a magic item. It's actually a plant-like growth creature that exists in dungeons. And this was obtained by the apprentice magic user, so it would be something you'd give out at character creation, but it would be something that was obtained by the apprentice magic user because his master wizard tasked him with collecting a sample of green slime for an experiment. And the apprentice was enterprising enough to collect 2. So treat it as a half hit dice version of the green slime, because if you look in the 1E monster manual, the green slime is a 2 hit dice creature. So this would be, because it's just a small amount in a glass beaker that has been stoppered with glass, maybe sealed with wax, that it's only a half hit dice version of the green slime. And the magic user will have some options of what he could do with this. He could open the beaker and pour it on a door, pour it on a lock, pour it on something he just wants the green slime to eat through, on bars. Then you neutralize it with your torch, which would be easy enough. You could just kind of hand wave that. You don't have to make it an attack with the torch. Or you could have the magic user throw it like a hand grenade against a big creature, that it's thrown and it hits them. Now, the 1E monster manual says that it would take 4 turns, 4 combat rounds, for the green slime to completely turn a character into green slime, with no possibility of resurrection. So this is a much smaller sample. I think we should specify something like 8 to 10 rounds, maybe, because it's so small. It's only a half a hit dice. So I thought, just maybe like eight combat rounds. It's plenty of rounds to deal with it. So the magic user has some options with this, but it is just an honorable mention since it is not magical. Now, our next item is, and I chose this picture for the candle because it was the closest thing I found to incense burning. It's the incense of refreshed rest. I invented this. I came up with this looking through the 1E DMG. And basically the idea is that if any spellcaster at all, had their rest disturbed during the night for whatever reason, could be wandering monsters showed up all night long, they were tending the sick and wounded and had to stand guard, so they just didn't get enough rest to be able to recover their spells. You would take this incense and light it, and for 15 minutes you would either pray or meditate as per what your shtick was. As clerics will pray, magic users will meditate, and so the incense burns for 15 minutes. You meditate for 15 minutes, and it's the equivalent of getting a full night's rest. Now, what is important is the characters do not use this to circumvent resting. Like, suppose they finish adventuring, it's nighttime, and he just, burns the incense, meditates for 15 minutes, gets all the spells back. No. They've gone all night, and because they've gone all night and they didn't get their rest, they can then use this as like a reset on the clock and get their spells back. It's kind of like a do-over for the magic user and the cleric and the druid and the illusionist. But it is not for them to circumvent, I don't even have to rest, I got this incense. No, the incense is not a substitute for going through the night. So the characters have to go through the night. So this is a very simple, small item that for a low-level character, not getting their spells could be really disastrous. So this is kind of like a nice little reset. And maybe they just start the game with one of these little incense cakes, and that's it. Now, the next item is potions. And I did not pick a particular potion. I just did potions because all potions almost, are a great single-use item. They don't generally unbalance the game, but they also, but when you give a potion, I also like to give, for the magic user, a small holder, a small belt pouch potion holder that's made of leather, and it's got wood in it, and there's holes drilled into the wood. And so the potions that they start with for me as the game master are the test tube type. They're in a test tube or a vial, and they fit in there nice. Now, there's no guarantee that all potions in the game are going to come in test tubes and vials. There could be a variety of sizes and shapes to potions bottles. But for the starting magic user, he's going to get these nice, fit in there, and that little bag that holds them protects them. So even if he takes a fall, we're not doing a saving throw to see if the potion breaks or anything along those lines. So I would give that out for free because it's not on I don't believe it's on the equipment list, and it's just a little freebie I like to give away. So that is potions. And next up is, it's actually two. It's number 8 and number 7. And these are a pair of wands. They are the wand of metal detection and the wand of secret door and trap location. Now, I put these together, and the reason being is that every magic user wants to have a staff or a wand, and they just feel better if they have a staff or a wand. So give the man a wand, or give the girl a wand, or whatever, give the elf a wand. Just give them a wand. These wands are not going to unbalance the game. But the other side of the coin is that this is a game about exploration. And so these items serve that purpose of exploration, helping the players find things in the game. And the fact that they're waving a wand and it's just doing a gimme on giving you the trap or the secret door or the most, the next largest cache of gold because you're using the wand, it's okay at low levels. It is okay because that's what the game is about. It's about exploration. And this gives the magic user, one, they look a little bit more official as a wizard because they've got a wand. And they also get a little bit more story share with this. And it does not actually trespass on any of the other characters, with the possible exception of the thief who's might be doing some scouting. But it's okay. I really feel like number 8, number 7, just give out a wand and let the player have it. Number 6 is spell scrolls. And to be specific, I mean spell scrolls with utilitarian spells, low-level utilitarian spells. And the thinking is this, that if the scroll has a read magic or comprehend languages, or, it's one of those more utilitarian things, the magic user will then focus his spell slots on more aggressive spells like, sleep, charm person, magic missile. And so in combat, the magic user wants to be able to just go and cast the spell, and that's actually a good thing. But when you're out of combat and you're looking around, going to cast detect magic, having it on a scroll and you're casting it off the scroll, that just works a little bit better out of combat. I know you can cast scrolls in combat, but I just feel like doing it this way is a little bit better for the game, just slightly. Maybe it just suits my own particular sensitivities concerning spellcasting. I just think that the spellcaster should reserve his limited spell slots for more aggressive spells, like charm, like sleep, like hold person. Now, number 5. Number 5 is something I invented, and it's inspired by the Bowl of Commanding Water Elementals. The problem with the Bowl of Commanding Water Elementals, other than the fact the description does say it's fragile, which I like, because if the magic user falls, there's a high likelihood that's going to break. But the Bowl of Commanding Water Elementals summons a 12-hit dice water elemental. That's way overpowered for a first or second level magic user. Instead, this is the Flask of the Water Weird. Now, what happens is that it is like a potion bottle or a flask, and you pour it out on the ground and say a command word while pouring it. And what happens is that when all of the contents are poured out, it becomes a water weird. Now, the water weird has a very peculiar description, but it becomes a water weird under the command of the magic user. He can command it, and it will hang around for 2d4 plus 1, arbitrary duration I came up with. And, he'll be able to use it. So it gives him a 3+3 hit dice creature that actually strikes as a 6 hit dice creature. So this is a little bit of a, fireball nuke for a low-level caster. But it's a one-time use. Once you use it, that's it. The flask is empty and it's done. It's like drinking a potion. Now, if you don't know the command word, or you choose to not say the command word and you pour the water out, the water weird is under its own control, which means it'll attack anybody around it. So if the player characters find it, they may not necessarily be able to use it right away because they may not know the command word. That would be something they have to research. So that becomes a little bit of a problem. Now, in the description of the water weird, if you reduce them to 0 hit points, they dissipate and then they reform, and you got to do it again. Well, I decided that for this, if you reduce it to 0, it just dissipates and it does not reform. or if you cast dispel magic on it, then it will just dissipate, and that's the end of it. And the water weird that is under no one's control does not have a duration. It will last until it is completely reduced to 0 hit points. Number 3 and 4. These were inspired by, and I almost hesitate to say this, they were inspired by the Javelin of Piercing and the Javelin of Lightning. But I've changed the Javelin of Piercing and the Javelin of Lightning to the Staff of Piercing and the Staff of Lightning, because I didn't want this to be something that the fighter goes, oh, I'm taking that. Instead, it is a magic user's staff. And they act exactly like either the Javelin of Piercing or the Javelin of Lightning. Now, I'm hesitant on this because the Javelin of Lightning is very powerful. And so my caveat with that is I put in my description of this that it was 2d4 charges for these items, but I almost prefer that if it is the Staff of Lightning, that it'll be just 2 charges, and that if it is the Staff of Piercing, it would be 3 to 4. Now, so 1 to 2 for lightning, 3 to 4 for piercing, but they act exactly like those magic items. In this case, the staff would have to be thrown like a javelin, and then it does the lightning thing and has all that extra damage for anybody who's close to the path of the lightning bolt as the staff turns into a lightning bolt. And the Javelin of Piercing, the magic user will just hold it, say the command word, and it'll just shoot at the person that he intends to target. And it's a lower amount of damage, so I feel like the Staff of Piercing should have more charges. But these, they don't unbalance the game like a Javelin of Lightning or Javelin of Piercing, because they're limited in charges and they're non-rechargeable, and they just give a 1st or 2nd level magic user a little bit of a battlefield nuke, a little bit of I just contributed to this ogre, because the magic user is not going to run forward with his dagger and go stabby stabby for D4 on the ogre when they're trying to take down an ogre. So that is number 3 and 4. Down to 2. Number 2. I'm going to use this picture for number 2 and for number 1. Number 2 is actually the Ring of Spell Story. Now, while this is a great item for anyone, because the spell is stored in there, you're wearing it, and you have a consciousness of what spell's in there, and so you could just, you could be a fighter wearing this and then go, light spell, and boom, there, it's really ideal for the magic user because the magic user can reload it. And if you make sure that it's limited to a 1st level spell, it's not going to unbalance the game. So you could actually, put in it a couple of 1 or 2 utilitarian spells, the more utilitarian spells. If you do put in a 2nd level spell, just make it 1 spell. And, I would prefer as game master to hand out the more utilitarian spells. So the magic user is going to get a free spell that lets him comprehend languages, read magic, identify, maybe light, but light is an offensive spell if you cast it on somebody's eyes. So spells along those lines, I would say. And it also has the benefit of giving the magic user some of the more utilitarian spells and reserving his limited spell slots for more offensive artillery. And I prefer that. Rather than give him freebie artillery, I want to force the magic user to still be making choices about what his spells are, and not that he's getting freebie artillery in a Ring of Spell Story. The reason why I picked this picture, though, as a wand, is that you could actually change this out to be a wand of spell storing, same as a ring. Rather than have it be a ring, which might be something that people covet, it's now a wand, and that's the exclusive purview of the magic user. you know, that it's a wand. And so now he's got that magic wand that he's doing his thing with, using it for all his somatic hand motions when casting spells. And, you know, I think that's a good thing. It might even give him, you know, I might even say that as a wand, it gives him a +1 on any, you know, D20 rolls to cast a spell. If the spell has a roll that you must, you know, you must make a roll or attack roll or a DC check to cast that spell. I think, you know, this wand could do that. So I kind of like it as a wand, but I also could roll with it as a ring. And then number one is very, very dangerous. It is and it's inspired by the Ring of Wizardry. Now, since the Ring of Wizardry actually exponentially increases a magic user's power as they advance in level, we're making it a wand and we're giving it charges. And it only works if you activate a charge. So it will only double your number of spell slots when you are trying to get spells back. If you activate a charge on it and do a, you know, mumble jumble, wave it as a wand, and now you have, instead of 2 spell slots to fill, you've got 4. And naturally, you don't want to see a magic user reaching 9th level and having, you know, doubled first level spells. And I would limit this to just first level spells. I mean, a Ring of Wizardry could be for any level spells, and it would just double the slots for those. But we're talking first level magic users, and I would just have it be a charged item. And by the time the character really starts advancing in level, where he's getting kind of dangerous, he's going to use up this wand. And I've already put in here that can't be recharged. I know a lot of wands can be, but I just put in here cannot be recharged. So this thing goes away, and it will not create power creep in your game, but it does give that fledgling magic user at first level a little boost. You know, it gives them a little bit more to do during the game, instead of I cast my one spell and now I spend the rest of the game hiding behind the cleric. And so I recognize that the Ring of Wizardry is overpowered as you advance it exponentially. I do think the limitations I put on it make it a good item for the first level magic user. So that is my top 10 list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put a comment down below. And, you know, I welcome those. Absolutely. You know, maybe I left something out. You think, dude, how could you leave this out? Well, I went through and read the description of every magic item in the DMG as I prepared this list. And then I made up a few I just thought, well, I think this would be a great item. And some of my items are obviously inspired by things in the DMG, but I thought those were too overpowered. So maybe you have something creative that you've come up with. It really makes a lot of sense for first level magic users. Please do share it. And we will be continuing this particular series. My next list will be low level items for the whole party that will not unbalance the game. And then we will be doing a list of cursed items that the game master can give, because I strongly believe that the Gygaxian magic item distribution model is 10% cursed items. But you do not want cursed items afflicting the party that require some high-level spells. There are some cursed items that can be just thrown away, and it's cool. They have consequences. They are legitimately a curse, and so I think those are the ones to focus on with the cursed item list. But that one will be coming along with the items for the whole party that will not overbalance the game. So this is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. Don't forget that like, subscribe, and bell icon. And keep on gaming.